All right. Try to make this short, but we'll just see how it goes. So, you see the title of it. This is more of a, not really necessarily fully on political, but also somewhat historical. So, the individual leaders versus the system that surrounds them, that is created, right? I just saw a video, of course, by Mark Felton talking more about Putin, this and that, and about St. Petersburg and all that sort of thing. What's going on, 21st Century Longest? How are you doing? But I thought about an individual leader versus the system that surrounds them. And if, like I say, so much so is that people focus on getting rid of the leader, right? It's like, oh, if I kill Hitler or if I kill Putin, then, the whole system would go down. It doesn't, it's never worked that way. It's a system, right? That's the whole thing. They set up a system around them. The thing is, I mean, yeah, Sigma Alpha, Shroom Pill, Dark Cell, Evil Maxon, Deranged Demented, Patrick Bateman based Chungus Groiper. Hey, there you go. I'm doing relatively all right. And how you doing, Temujin? I don't think I said that, but yeah, how y'all doing? I think it has to be said, of course, the difference between an individual leader versus the system that surrounds them that they've arguably created, right? It's easy to be like, oh, well, if I just take out that one person, then everything will change. It's like, no, it doesn't work that way. Do you think that the system that Putin has created, the state security apparatus with, the gangsters and everything else, that's not going to just go away overnight because of you get rid of Putin. It's like, no, he'll be replaced with somebody else. I mean, you got Medvedev in the background, you have plenty of other folks. It's a system that's been created around them, you know. When, whether you want to believe that Hitler left to go to Argentina or whether he actually killed himself in the bunker, I'm not here to debate that, but once that happened, they continued to have a rump government for a brief time. Now, of course, mind you, that didn't really have any power, et cetera, et cetera. But many of those folks continued on, you know, operating in the same system because ultimately, you know, specifically with Nazi Germany, it's like, all those corporations and whatnot, they were there before Nazi Germany came to be, and they were there afterwards. You think of like Zeiss, stuff like that, that made, optics and whatnot. It just split into two once, East and West were split up. But it's like it's all pretty much the same thing. Krupp is still around. And usually it's like what Krupp Theismann, I think. Ironically, so it's the guy that left and defected to or defected to the United States and talked about Hitler a lot. And said how bad he was, this and that. I think it's Krupp Theismann. I think it's Krupp Theismann is the name of the company now. That produces like in the U.S. you think of it for elevators usually. It's Otis Elevators and then like Krupp Theismann Elevators. But yeah, it's all about defeat the villain and save freedom. Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, I mean, people focus so much on the leader and all the evil things that they do, but it's like you have to think about the system that surrounds it, right? And you can say it can devolve or whatever the case may be, but these are two different things, right? I think people have to realize that, where it's like you can go ahead and criticize Russia for what it is, for being like basically, run by oligarchs and run by, various gangsters and whatnot, and having a weak army and weak military in general. That's part of the reason why. And I got this somewhat from a thread I was reading yesterday on Twitter about this, but the army is really disrespected in Russia, and they are basically just there as I'm just trying to think of a better word, really, but I guess more of a they're at the low end of the hierarchy. You know, It's like the so-called, gangsters, the so-called, bandits and whatnot. They are in a higher place than, the military. Yeah, of course, like ex KGB folks and whatnot. But do you think that they actually cared about Marxism in the first place? No, they never did. It was all about power. You know. So I just think that it's oversimplified to be like, oh well, Putin or Zelensky. It's like it's all part of the same thing. Yeah, I don't even think in the time of monarchy the king had total control over the system. Oh, absolutely not. Oh no, no. Like I said, there's always powers behind the throne, this and that. There's always some other stuff that goes on. It's like, eh, you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. It's the same thing. Yeah, you will never be a real proletarian. You have no job, no income, no serious tools to perform said job. You are metrosexual millennial twisted by made into a crude mock. Yeah, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair opinion. Yeah. Mockery of working class perfection. All the support and validation you get is two faced and half hearted. Behind your back, proles mock you. Your parents are disgusted and ashamed of you, your friends. Yeah, I don't argue that point at all. Yeah. I think I found the most wackiest bloke of them all. Look up Dmitro Korchinski. Let me see what we got here. Oh, here we go. Dmitro Korchinski. Let's see here. Wow. He's like, oh, wow. He kind of looks like Tom Selleck in the photo. Brutzvo.info. Let's see here. Former leader of the ultranationalist UNA UNSO party, Ukrainian Orthodox. Oh, wow. Wow. Member of the Ukrainian Helsinki group. Let's see here. Our Ukraine. Russian pro Vladimir Putin youth organization Nashi invited Korchinski to youth summer camp to teach how to prevent public disturbances and how to confront the threat of an orange revolution. Oh, wow. Euromaidan protests. Wow. Korchinski returned to Ukraine and founded the St. Mary Battalion. Wow. Fight the East Ukraine separatists. War in Donbass. Separatists have, according to independent experts, been armed and helped by regular soldiers from Russia. Yeah. Hmm. Russia has opened several criminal cases against Korchinski. Wow. That's crazy. That's a wild stuff, man. Yeah. Yeah. That's a transgender copy pasta in communist form. Oh, wow. Okay. I kind of figured that was copy pasta. I was like, oh, okay. That's why left anarchoid mentality. Yeah. Crush evil government and install MLP world mentality. Yeah. He's pretty wacky. Yeah. He's a pretty wacky guy. The thing is, like I say, the system versus the person are two different things. It's like, yeah, you can idolize the person or whatever through what you think it is, but the system is something that you see every day. Um, Not right now. No, I don't. I did for a time, but nah, not right now. But what I was gonna say is that these are two different things. The system is something that you see every day. He admired jihadists. His battalion doesn't exist anymore, though. Oh wow. But I would say that these are, yeah, that's fair. But these are two different things. These are two different ideas. Like I say, we see. It's like you can talk about, the president or whatever. It's like, yeah, you can claim, oh, screw Joe Biden, this and that, but he sees himself as Christian Taliban, Orthodox Hezbollah. Oh wow. Oh, okay. This guy's he's on a whole different level, huh? What I was gonna say is that, you think about it that way, right? the system is something that you see every day. The individual people is one thing, and you can blame Biden or blame whomever, but it's the system itself that's there. This is what people try to do, and they try to say capitalism, but it's like it's not even that really. It's individual companies that have corporate structures and are taught to treat people a certain way, this and that. It's such a deep thing that it's hard to tell. Even when you have a so-called revolution or a civil war, those things are kind of baked in. They can't really escape. It's like, you know, it's like, do you think, you know, I don't know, there's all sorts of beliefs about what people actually think were going to happen, this and that. But it's like with the United States, you see a country that, is controlled by various corporations and you have, a lot of standardization, right? So you think of like, I don't know, bring up McDonald's, of course, an American standard, of course, uh, the McDonald brothers were kicked out, and Ray Kroc is the one that really made it, what it is, right? A shake salesman. I think people are too stuck in abstract ideologies instead of being realistic for a second. Oh, absolutely. You know, but it's like that's why you can get a burger the same way in San Francisco and, New York and say it's pretty much the same thing. Now, of course, that has to do with, how it's made, this and that, but it's all standardized, right? You know, I mean, I'm sure you could say the same thing for like, I don't know, whichever place, but yeah, it's just, it's the system that you learn, right? And it can be pretty much the same wherever you go. And like I say, there's general ideas, but then there's, yeah, it's because being realistic is depressing if you're an idealist. Oh, yeah, that's true too. But I think when you get older, all you have is realism. That's the whole thing. When you get older, all you have is realism. And I think you slowly become a curmudgeon like me. And you realize it's like you're just a cog in the system. Now, of course, like I say, you can consider that a bad thing or a good thing or just kind of indifferent to it. But that's just what it is, right? Do you think that, people can be replaced? All that sort of thing. Like I say, maybe I'm getting schizo here. I'm sorry. I'm getting kind of schizo and maybe I'm not making as much sense. But, you realize that where it's just like they promote all this hatred for my Putin or my Hitler or, Erdogan or whoever. And like I say, once again, I call that my own bullshit, but it's about the system that surrounds them as well, right? This is what lefties try to do. I'm going to put it that way. How's it going with normal lives? But I think lefties try to do this, and they try to say, look at all the evil the Catholic Church has done. It's about the system. It's not about believing religion, this and that. But it doesn't. Yeah, your time is running out and sacrificing. It doesn't seem worth it. Oh, absolutely. Maybe I'm trying to understand the difference between individual leader versus the system, right? So I mean, people will, like I say, people will praise John Paul II and say, "Oh, what a great thing he did." But of course, they'll say, "Oh, but Catholicism is evil, and look at all what they've done." And like I say, eh, like I don't really like to get that far into it, but you realize the differences that exist, right? And this is what people try to say about these abstract ideas like capitalism. It's like it's deeper than that. It's obviously influenced by capitalism, but it's like getting that sense of you're replaceable, that you're not really needed, this and that, right? Versus other places, it's a whole different type of thing. But if you can say that capitalism influences something, but to say that it's uniform across the board is a different thing. Am I getting schizo? Am I getting real? Like I say, am I starting to not make sense? But yeah, there's no real difference between leader and the system. The leader is molded by the system. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that does make sense. Like I say, I thought about it yesterday because I was watching. It tells you how much of a boomer I am, but I was watching that show Vegas. Um, this old show with Robert Urich, and it finished in 1981. It only had 3 seasons, but they had this third season which started out in 1980. Think about the timeline here, and they showed the house of what would become the house that Magnum PI stays at Robin Masters' house. And you say to yourself, you realize this is just what it is. That it's kind of a prelude, if you will. Is that like Dallas? Not, nah, not really. Dallas, of course, more of a like drama between all these folks. Vegas was about, in this case, this is the one that he was a private eye, private investigator, and he, typically took like cases like, girls are missing or people have been murdered, that sort of thing. Yeah, it was one with Robert Urich. But yeah, different sort of thing. Yeah, different sort of thing. That was much more of like a soap opera type, whereas Vegas was much more about just the individual cases, this and that. Pretty much the same characters, with different bad guys like Leslie Nielsen, this and that. But yeah, like I say, it is what it is. I don't know why I'm so fascinated by that show, but it is. Yeah, yeah. I like me some Magnum PI. Oh yeah, there's some great ones in there. I'll tell you one of my favorite episodes of it. While we get off the politics and all the schizo stuff, is one of my favorite episodes is the one where they're trapped on an island for a bit. I don't know why. I mean, really, it's not really that much of a different plot, really, for American shows. But I was like, I don't know. I thought that was one of my favorite ones. I tried to do a video on it, but it got flagged. Whatever. But yeah, I enjoy it for what it is. You have those cast of characters, this and that, and it's easier to follow, from show to show. Nowadays, of course, is a whole different thing. Yeah. But to finish up, the leaders versus the system, one can be molded. I'll put it this way. Yeah, there is no real difference between a leader and the system. The leader is molded by the system. Absolutely true. But I mean, the system may not be consistent. It can be consistent in some ways, but inconsistent in others. I'll put it that way, at least from my view. You know, is that some areas are more lax than others, and some areas are just, you have to do things a certain way or else, goodbye, sort of thing. But I think that's all I really have to say. I really do. I just wanted to put that out there because I think that, like I say, the way that things are manipulated, where it's just like individual leaders are bad and evil, and if we just did that, and if we just broke up the country, it's like, but how do the systems work? It's like that's the real question, isn't it? The systems don't necessarily change; they may just evolve and adapt to whatever time. Yeah. You also need to take influencers who take advantage of a leader. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That's true as well. But that's really my view on it. You even think about it like with the United States. Like I said, you could say, "Oh, Biden's this, he's that," but it's just like you think about the system and the people around him that were there under Obama or under Clinton or whatever the case may be. These folks who have these preconceived notions, right? Or you have Janet Yellen, running the Fed for all these years, and all these other factors that are there, right? And I don't know. It's more of the thing of just, if my particular system was in charge, things would be different. It's like, would they? Like I said, that's why you try not to get too hooked into, an ideologue sense of things where it's just like, well, this and that. That's fair. That's fair. I'm gonna leave it there though. I'm gonna leave it there. Because I think, yeah, even when governments are overthrown, they rely on the infrastructure of the previous system. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know. This was my attempt at trying to, I don't know, be what ontological, deontological, whichever you want to say. Maybe I'm using too big of words. Ontological, or maybe I'm just trying to, go internal. I'll put it that way. Kind of essence or nature of being. Yeah, yeah. Maybe ontological would be a point. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Well, I think that's all I got to say, really. Hopefully, y'all enjoyed that, or maybe kind of got some sort of made you think a little bit. Maybe not. Anyway, I got dishes to do and other stuff, so I better get on it. Anyway, hopefully y'all enjoyed that. See you later. Goodbye.